Y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story that I want to bring to you because of the agenda. We got talking code. I have been reading some things. I can't get one complete story that I can share with you. So let me just share like a synopsis of my thoughts. So some of the stuff that I have been reading in public and in other areas that I'm not at liberty to talk about. There seems to be a push or a framing to get more people to participate in learn at home schemes. I'm going to just use the term schemes. And the story that I brought you the other day, when I've been doing some research on some of these other countries have pretty much the ones with the failing economies have divested in public education, which means either a lot of children are unable to go to school because there are no public education facilities in their communities open to them, and those are likely going to be poor people impacted because of course they never cut no resources for rich people, and I've seen it in a couple of different nations, large nations. So it's alarming to me that the world is divesting in children in that way. But what also is alarming to me is that we are laying an infrastructure that will allow learn at home to be a thing here in America involuntarily. And when I say involuntarily, it's because when this economy collapses and all these different things kind of hit at one time, people lose jobs. So they'll be at home. The next big thing that's coming to disrupt life, whether it be a biological weapon or a cyber weapon, whatever the thing is that's coming, the infrastructure is already set up so that what happened over the last 3 years, it will be a continuation of that, whenever the next shutdown happens. And the infrastructure will be in place. So, you don't have to worry about people not having Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about schools not having computers, parents not having laptops, because they've put enough free laptops, phones, and tablets out into the communities. They've developed these community centers, for people to have access to the internet. They've created these parks where people can go out in the public and be outside in case there's quarantine issues. So there are a lot of different moving pieces happening. And I can't, so there's no one story to say, hey, this is happening, but I'm just talking about it, and I want to talk about it loudly because I want people who have children or family members with young children to understand what is coming down the pipe. And what is coming down the pipe here in America is a lot of schools are going to be closed, and y'all know they are going to close as many schools as they can in African American Black communities because they have already been doing that. That's what No Child Left Behind was essentially. But this is a new phase. It's a new thing to shut down more schools and to essentially have families at home in their prison camps, not going anyplace. You can be at home teaching your own children, and the children are going to be learning from the internet or wherever they can learn. So as I was doing some research, I found this article, in a Nigerian newspaper, and I think the title of this paper is called The Day, of this internet magazine. And this article is titled DSN Malezi MasterCard Foundation Target 1 million children with Learn at Home project. Now, this was 3 years ago. 3 years ago was the beginning of the. And so while over there, nothing was really happening, we kind of had the stuff happening in Dragon Country, in the West, and here in America. These Black nations, or on the continent of Africa, like, people were not really getting sick the way that we were, or if they were, it just didn't impact them the same way that it impacted us. But while it wasn't impacting them, the hidden hands were doing their pilot projects. And what we always have to keep in mind is that they have pilot projects going on all the time, all over the world. We just don't know it. So when they roll out these things, for us, it's going to be a shock, but they've already been putting together these projects, and they are working with people who look like us because they think they know us. And I won't say they think they know us. They know us. And they also realize that we don't have any power. They also realize that we're asleep and we're poor, so we need school because school is childcare. So, we're just like in this desperate situation. But this story is interesting because what I see happening over the next couple of years is that schools are going to go away. School is going to be at home, and parents are going to be at home teaching their children, or sitting at home with their children all day. And the children are going to be at school in the house on the computer. And so the last couple of years, when schools were closed and kids had to figure out how they were going to do school, depending on what state you lived in, and parents lost jobs or couldn't work or whatever because they had to stay home with the kids because school was closed. More of that is coming. And so, I don't know if parents are going to be working. The parents are fortunate enough to not lose jobs because of AI or the economy or whatever. I don't know what those parents will do, but the parents who don't work or whatever, those parents are going to be at home with their own kids. And clearly there has been an infrastructure already laid. But I like this article because it kind of explains to us what the future is going to look like. So that's what I do with these articles. I look at them and I'll say, if this happened 3 years ago, anywhere, from now to 3 years, 4 or 5 years forward, we can expect to see these things manifest in our communities, or in America, but in particular in our communities, because they're not doing any of these things in Europe, just, to Black and brown people. So anyway, let me get into this story so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So, Data Science Nigeria, that's the DSN that was in the title, and Malezi have partnered with MasterCard Foundation. Notice it's partnering with the money people, to provide opportunities for continued learning while schools are still closed, and build long-term resilience in the Nigerian education system to withstand potential future disruptions to the school calendar. According to the partners, the prolonged school closure brought on by the pandemic has left millions of children in Nigeria without any formal learning over the last 6 months. Cut off from any instruction, feedback, or interaction with their teachers, they said learners are now at risk of losing important learning gains and will need to catch up on what they missed. The initiative entitled Learn at Home will enable remote learning through multiple channels like radio, mobile, and web, and aims to provide learning access for 1 million children in Nigeria within the next 12 months. This initiative is made possible by the MasterCard Foundation Recovery and Resilience Program. According to the country head, Nigeria at the MasterCard Foundation, Chidinma Lawason, this Pani continues to upend basic assumptions about where and when and how we learn and work. Right now, the priority in terms of education is ensuring that children learn no matter where they are or whether they have access to the internet. Ensuring universal learning continuity is critical if we are going to mitigate not just losses in learning, but the overall inequality being perpetuated by this crisis. The project delivery is split into two major channels, offline and online learning. Data Science Nigeria will take charge of delivering the offline learning and has created a localized and relevant learning syllabus that can easily be accessed on radio stations close to the children and on any mobile phone by simply dialing a USSD code. A data connection is not required. See how the phone is going to be so important for everybody? It's our new police. Speaking on the 5 differentiators of the project, the executive director of Data Science Nigeria, Toyin Adekanbi, said our approach to tackling education for disadvantaged kids rests on our understanding of the obstacles, and we have worked to overcome them head on. Learn from home requires no internet connection to access. The curriculum is localized per locations across Nigeria and based on the NERDC curriculum. I don't know what that is. Something apparently based in Nigeria. The highest quality standard of teachers have been engaged for content delivery, and each student will have a unique school registration that, you hear that? Each student will have a unique school registration number that allows student-teacher engagement and regular opportunity to test learning using simple mobile telephony services like USSD and SMS, which is text. Malezi, which has experience in large-scale education across several countries in Africa, will be in charge of delivering the online learning. Malezi will provide a rich learning experience to children who have access to internet connectivity and smart devices. This category will cover self-paced learning with numerous curriculum-aligned e-notes, videos, and quizzes, as well as teacher support through live tutorials and question and answer options. Learning content will be accessed through both mobile and web platforms. Malezi also plans to offer downloadable learning material for those students who experience intermittent data connectivity. The Learn at Home project will commence just in time for the back to school season in late September, October 2020, and will provide critical learning for children across the country, whether they have access to the internet or are offline. So for me, this is important because it means if you live in a rural place in America, it doesn't matter if you don't have access to the internet because you will need a phone, and everybody has access to the telephone. in some kind of way. You can get a phone phone signal. So you're going to be doing your work either, via internet or via cell phone. They've made it possible where you won't need a phone. I'm sorry, you won't need internet access, and you won't have to go to school. So it seems to me that they are preparing for, all the job losses, the lack of tax revenue. People won't be able to send their kids to school because there won't be revenues for schools. It's going to be very interesting. So just from my public education experience, like, this is a big deal. So we really should pay attention to this. Due to the restrictions, a return to in-person school delivery is yet to be determined by many state governments. And keep in mind, this was 3 years ago, making the intervention by Data Science Nigeria, Malezi, and the MasterCard Foundation especially timely. Of course it's timely. Of course it is. Speaking on the project, Mrs. Alade, a parent of 2 children who are potential beneficiaries of the program, said, "This is a well-needed help for us parents. We need our children who have not been in school for a long time to catch up on all they have missed. Thank you for this." So I'll put a link to this story in the description, but I've been telling you about all the digitalization that is happening, all these pilots that are going on all across the world. And make no mistake, these things are happening outside of America, so that when they come roll them out, like, people just going to be like, "Oh, this is a wonderful thing," or, "Oh, how did they come up with this so fast?" These people have been planning this stuff for a long time. And, I don't know if you remember with the Better Than Cash Alliance and some of the other things that I've shown you when we do the follow the money. You see who's funding these initiatives. You'll see the same financial backers over and over and over again. So I don't want you to ever discount, the power of these corporations being invested in these types of initiatives. We are not really prepared for what's coming. I know a lot of people have children, during the pandemic, people were just like fit to be tied because they had to be home with their kids all day. And they just were not prepared. There are a lot of people who can make babies, but they have no idea how to raise them. They are not equipped to teach anybody anything. And not only that, it's like all parents aren't able to stay at home. So, it just has my mind going. It's like, how is this going to work? It's like almost like they are preparing for another big thing to happen. And regardless of, if we have a cyber event and we still have power, don't have internet, you can use the telephone. If you don't have, a phone, but you have the internet, you can use the internet. Like, they are making it so it's impossible for you to have an excuse to not do whatever it is that they want you to do. So anyway, this learn at home thing is going to be something that comes to America real soon. I think they did a couple of pilot projects here when Papa was elected, because a part of the infrastructure bill did include resources for stuff like this. But the media didn't frame it in this way. And then I add my own 2 cents to it. So I put my tinfoil hat on and I gave you my perspective. You can take it or leave it. Take the meat, spit out the bones. But I'm just telling you what I see coming and how these things are playing out all over the world so that they can eventually land here, because this is where they want everything to land. And trust and believe, they want us to buy into this. They understand that we really won't have a choice because we are poor, because we rely heavily on public education. And so they will want us to buy into this. Now, I have my own ideas about, education, homeschooling, and so on and so forth. I don't really want to talk about it on this channel. It would be something that I would like to maybe do something with Watchman Nehemiah on, because, we have an issue already in our community with brain drain and talent drain. We send off our best and brightest to them, to the dominant society, and it kind of leaves us at a deficit. And so, program like this, if parents are working and the kids have to stay home and learn, I don't know how that's going to work. But if the parents are laid off and getting universal basic income and subsidized, and the kids are at home because schools are closed, I don't know. But they're planning this for something. There's going to be a big rollout, in a lot of places. So be on the lookout for things like this in your community. If you see anything like this, please send me an email and let me know so that I can talk about it and warn people. And understand that these people have an agenda. It is going as planned, and it is going as planned because they are able to do these pilot projects all over the world, and we just are not paying attention because we just don't pay attention to anything. We're a narcissistic nation. All right, this is Marley K. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to my Odyssey and Rumble channels in the event that this channel is taken down. Please consider following my socials on Instagram and Facebook. Also, consider subscribing to my Substack in the event this channel goes down. I can write. I really don't write that much now because I'm already shadow banned, so I'm not trying to get no more smoke from nobody. I'm tired of these people. And if you like this type of content, please consider supporting the channel. I do this out of love. I do not get compensated, and money makes the world go round. If you have any questions about what is going on in this world, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I have pretty much been laying it out. You need a cell phone. The cell phone is going to be our police. So, again, please start thinking about ways to be without technology when the switch happens, because as you can see, connectivity is going to be we're going to be in an open air prison. We cannot be bound to these things. We just cannot. We're going to have to find alternatives. We can't go out like sucker ducks. All right, y'all. Continue to pray. Continue to prep. Please have no fear. Continue to seek the Most High for wisdom and guidance so that we can navigate all these obstacles coming our way. This is Marley K, and I'm out.